wonderful. And I'm going to pass it over to Erika Deshmukh, who's going to talk to us on how do we eat consciously.
Hello, everybody. Nice to see you all. So I'm not sure if I recognize some of you. I did a similar Zoom meeting a few days ago, and I'm going to tell a story, and then we're going to do a little exercise, and we're going to try to bring in some of this positive and calm, so we have a theme going. And again, if you want to walk fast, not run, and get yourself a little morsel of something to eat, is really nice. Even if you've done a mindful eating exercise, every time we eat, it can be mindful. So it's really an experience. So I'm so glad Padma's doing it. Has anybody done this experience before, a mindful eating exercise with me or just on your own? Yes, you have. Yes, a lot of you have. Well, we're gonna do it over, and just like, you know, at first I was thinking about this and I said, well, everybody's done, a lot of you have done a mindful eating exercise, and in a way, you know, we can do meditation every day, we can do yoga every day, but once you've done a mindful eating exercise, you've done a mindful eating exercise. But it's actually not true. I was thinking about it, because it's not an exercise, it's how we live. So I want to tell you a story one more time if you weren't here, because it's just fascinating. And if you haven't heard this before, it was my introduction to a form of mindful eating. And it was a true story about a man by the name of Antonio Stančić. And he is Yugoslavian. And in 1943, he found himself in a concentration camp in Greece, doing hard labor in a German camp, and people were starving and dying, and I'm sure all of us understand the circumstances he was under and the stress. And he was given so little to eat. He was given a piece of bread in the morning and some chicory coffee, and in the afternoon they had soup made of potatoes if they were lucky, and sometimes nothing at all. It was brutal, it was bitterly
Erika, you are muted.
I think we lost you. Yeah.
We cannot listen.
You are muted. Yeah.
On here.
Have I been muted the entire time?
No. Just like a few seconds.
Okay. When did I get muted?
Just trying to tell a story about the person who had a piece of bread.
Oh, so you heard that part. Okay, good.
Yes.
I thought I was going to start from the beginning. Well, he had this piece of bread and he started chewing and chewing and chewing the bread. And what he started noticing was the more he chewed, the warmer he got. And the longer he chewed, the more energy he felt. And he thought, this is really interesting. And he chewed it 30, 50, 70, 100 times. Eventually, he chewed this food over 300 times per bite. And he had these amazing results. And he shared it with the other prisoners. And most of them scoffed at him and didn't find any value, except for two of them who started doing the same practice. And they would just chew the food at least 150 times per bite. And they all felt the same results: more energy, warmth in the body. And at the end of the story, I could tell this over and over, and I have, and even if you've heard it once before, true story, of 32 prisoners, 3 people survived. Antonio Stančić and the 2 people that he taught this practice. And that story always amazed me when I heard it. And I practiced, you know, a practice very similar, where I would take each bite and chew it and chew it. And if you've ever done meditation, or if you've ever had a fabulous meal, or if you've ever had those moments where the sky is so blue and the trees are green and you're in the present moment with what you're doing, and the food tastes so miraculous and wonderful, where we notice a difference. And so the practice of mindful eating, in a sense, it comes from being completely present, but also as food, as nourishment, and getting all the energy. And it's really something we can talk about, but it's more important to experience it. And that's why we're going to do an experience. So hopefully you haven't eaten what you have it in your hand. And I want you to go ahead, close your eyes, and let's bring the thread in from what we just did with Sachin, and breathe in and out, noticing your belly. And it feels perhaps an interesting texture, perhaps it feels warm. And what I want you to do is, keeping your eyes closed, just take a nice deep breath, center yourself, and bring yourself back to the present moment, positive and calm. Right, and then open your eyes and take a look at what's in your hand. Take a look at this object. And just notice its shape. Notice what color it is. Notice what texture it is. If it has ridges on it, is it smooth? And think about the journey that this little morsel of food took to be created and right inside of your palm right now. You might have a piece of chocolate or a nut. Some of you chose something to drink. I want you to think, what will it be like to eat this? Are you hungry right now? Is your mouth watering? It's natural for your mind to wander. Just bring it back. And now lift this little morsel of food and go ahead and smell it. Bring it right to your nose and notice, does it have a smell? And if you don't, some of you don't have something to eat, you're going to have to imagine this. And so have something in your mind that you just love to eat and smell it. And now, your eyes closed if they aren't already, put it in your mouth, but do not chew. Put this little morsel of food in your mouth, take a bite out of it, take a sip of it, and don't chew, just let it swirl around on your tongue. Then notice if it's starting to soften, if it's breaking down, if it's getting warmer, if the taste is changing. Just notice everything about the sensation. And then go ahead and start chewing. Keep your eyes closed so that you can really keep a laser sharp focus on the process of chewing. And concentrate on the taste of the food. And don't do anything else. Be completely present. What does it taste like? How much do you love it? Is it turning into liquid? And you're going to use that uniform smoothness of the food and that consistency to actually swallow. And notice when you do that, and sometimes we've done it already, you don't have to do anything to swallow. It happens naturally, just like your breath. But notice that mechanism of swallowing, and then continue with your eyes closed to breathe, positive and calm. And just think for a moment and reflect before you open your eyes. What was that experience like for you? How was that little morsel of food different than any other time you've had the same thing to eat? You've had this to eat before, but how is this time different? And would you want another one if I offered it to you right now? Or if you have a bigger piece in your hand, are you hungry for more? And the last question is, how might you bring this practice into your present life? And then when you're ready, you can go ahead and open your eyes. And my part is over, but if anybody could chat or speak out any experience, it's always interesting to hear.
How did it feel?
Pushpa.
That was a very different kind of experience. Normally, when I had a piece of chocolate, so normally I just open the chocolate or can or whatever the container and put it in my mouth to start eating. But this one was like eye closed. I can see the shape and everything. Then I can smell it. Then when I put in my mouth, and before that, when I was like I had in my hand, my mouth started watering actually. It never happened before because normally I open the jar and eat it.
Mm.
The water, my mouth was watering, and I keep looking. I never paid attention. They had the lines and all those things, so we just kind of eat it. And then when I smell it, I never smell before I eat. So when I put it in my mouth, like the water was gushing out, like and it was going around, and it was much more sweeter and creamier. And more water was going, like, a lot of water was coming inside my mouth was getting full. This kind of experience I never experienced because I eat one piece and okay, I ate the second piece. So that was my experience.
Yeah, thanks, Pushpa. Actually, chocolate is a wonderful thing to do this exercise with. And those of you who didn't have a piece of chocolate, I would highly recommend the next time you do choose to eat chocolate that you try this exercise, because we do this with foods that we tend to, like chocolate chips, that we tend to eat one and then eat another, and we can eat so much, but often we eat something like this and we realize, wow, that was so sweet and that was very satisfying. We might not eat as much of it and we might enjoy it even more. That was wonderful sharing. Thank you, Pushpa.
So Erica, I'm calling you from Jaipur, India.
Wow, I'm so lucky. Where are you?
All the way in Jaipur. And
I can only see his picture right now.
I was experiencing what you're saying with just a cup of tea.
I knew somebody would have a cup of tea, and tea is so interesting. How was that? That's Naren.
I could experience all the masalas that were in the tea.
Wow, all the masalas in the tea. Do you know that when Antonio Stancic did this, it wasn't only it was like Mahatma Gandhi says, it wasn't only with food, but he did this with water. And that's where I guess the saying, what is the saying, Naren? You must know.
Yes, you should eat what you drink.
Yeah, eat what you drink. Chew your drink and eat your food.
Yes.
And so what Naren did was he chewed his drink.
Yes, and it lasted, the whole thing, one sip lasted 1-2 minutes. So you could slowly see all the dalchini and garam masala and all the things. I could feel it.
Sometimes we gulp tea or we take it, it's a habit. And we don't think about where did it come from and how does it taste and how wonderful it is. And wonderful.
So Erica and Sachin and Dinesh, I wanted to, from Jaipur, also congratulate you. Thank you for doing all these things, even in this lockdown. We are also in complete lockdown, even much more than United States. So let's use this opportunity to really practice these things, which I'm doing it for 4 hours a day, an hour of meditation every day, and hour and a half of yoga, and another 2 hours of Mahabharat, and another 1 hour of exercise. So this is a good opportunity for all of our seniors to really practice healthy living. So that's all I wanted to say. But
Nice.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Nice. Thank you. Good to see you, Naren. Hope you're staying safe and healthy.
So far.
Yes, we are doing the seniors are enjoying here. Erica, I also wanted to kind of share an experience where growing up, your parent or our parents and grandparents would always say, when you're sitting on a table eating food, focus on the food. Don't get distracted, and chew it 32 times, not just for the digestion, but also to enjoy the food. And this was a similar experience, I think we all had. So thank you.
I just want to add that this is good because chewing actually aids in digestion. so many of us have a problem with digestion. And digestion actually starts when we put it in the mouth, all the enzymes that come out in the saliva. So the first phase of digestion is in the mouth. So when you chew, the digestion already starts even before it hits the stomach, where it churns the food and makes it even smaller and goes into the intestine. But the important first step is actually in the mouth. And you know, we gulp the food so fast, we skip the first part altogether. So this is good.
Yeah,
Yes.
cool, nice. Thank you so much, Erica. I'm going to turn over to other panelists. We have
Thank
three
you for
more.
having me. It was wonderful.
Thank you. And I'm just watching time. So over to Dr. Naras Bhatt, who is, as I said, a wellness practitioner and a wonderful doctor. So Dr. Bhatt, over to you.
He's unmuted. No, he's muted.
Hello, I'm Dr. Kusum Bhatt, and this is my husband, Dr. Naras Bhatt. And before we start, I just want to say or dedicate today's session to those people who are dedicating their lives to save others in this difficult time. And so for their dedication and their willingness to help, and we are all in it in this difficult time, but at the same time, our kith and kin and people who are especially in frontline, we just want to have a heartfelt gratitude and compassion. With that, and then we're going to have today's session as empowering seniors during this corona. And we all have similar issues, similar problems. At the same time, seniors have some more problems, and we will discuss it as question and answer form, and then we'll see the what are those. There are two problems. One is a fear of unknown, that could be illness, death of fear of death of self or loved ones, and the other problem is isolated suffering. So if this is the problem, what could be the solution? We may not have a complete solution for everything, but let us discuss one by one.
Okay, the solution, I mean, Kusum has already identified two major problems during this crisis, and that is the fear of unknown, that is the illness or death and of self or others, and then the isolation, which is not the social distancing, it is the isolation of feeling alone and suffering alone. And the solution is to use a specific tool that we have used in supporting patients in our hospital who have heart attack before or after heart attack, and use this model over 17 years. And that tool is called time, touch, and talk. Time. You dedicate a specific time every single day, approximately half an hour to an hour, to what do you dedicate this time? For touch, you know, in this instance, you can't touch physically because we are distancing. Your touch emotionally with the digital media like, you know, Skype, FaceTime, and so forth, and a talk. Talk what is what we are going to discuss. We have identified for this context 5 major topics that we can talk every day with that per partner that we can share with. And those 5 topics are?
So what are the 5 topics? Estate and asset planning, and power of attorney. So he's going to talk about that, and let us see how we are going to do this. First and foremost, we all face, when especially in the difficult times, two things. One is forgiveness. The other one is gratitude. Let's define and see how we can do the forgiveness and the gratitude. What is forgiveness? Forgiveness is a conscious and a deliberate decision to release your feelings or resentment. It is not just the statement saying that, oh, I forgive you. It is the state of how you feel. It's just like when you're angry or when you have any other emotion, what happens to your body, and depending on your physiological signal, what happens to your breathing?
In other words, it is not just telling I'm sorry. It is the reactivity of your frustration against that person or the task.
Correct.
That you have to unlearn.
Yeah. And what is not forgiveness? Forgiveness is not just saying sorry, or it's not a statement. You have to feel it and see where you feel it, and then it is not for the person that you want to give the forgiveness. It is for your own benefit, and then what happens to your body.
And for example, forgive your own brother or sister or your friend that you have always had a resentment towards. And during this time of crisis, this is how you empower yourself, by forgiving.
So the next is the gratitude. Gratitude is just like saying count your blessings in the domain of health, wealth, or family and social life. Gratefulness is, how do you do that? One of the ways that you can do that is, I'll tell you in my own experience, what I do is I write gratitude diary, or I'm a poetess, and then I write poetry, and then I write it down, and then or you can do audio or video sharing with the person.
And you do this gratitude diary every day.
Yes.
Because you need to renew your gratitude, because when you do that, then you are releasing oxytocin and other healing chemicals. And that is why gratitude is such a powerful thing in times of crisis as well as other times.
Right. So let's talk about the other 5 topics.
Other topics. The topic one is foremost in everybody's mind nowadays, is important, particularly for seniors, is estate and asset planning. The power of attorney, financial, healthcare, or advanced healthcare directive, will and trust, living will or last will, and so forth. Most importantly, it is called DAM, D-A-M, Digital Assets Management. We all have digital assets, like bank balance assets, your digital media assets, and your password assets, and all those assets you want to organize and share with your loved ones and then family. And the other part, we have identified 5 major topics. That is, the next one is a very important one. It's called self-compassion. Christina Neff, she is a professor of self-compassion from Austin, Texas. She learned this method from Mysore, India, when she had her sabbatical there. There are 3 components in self-compassion. Number 1 is self-kindness as opposed to self-criticism. And a common human suffering. We are all in it together as a suffering, and we are not suffering as an isolated one person. We are all having the equal fear, equal challenge in this corona time. So that common human suffering is what we have to perceive. It is not me or I alone. We all are in it. And finally, mindfulness as opposed to the self-identification.
There's a question from Indu.
Yeah.
She has raised her hand.
Yes, please, go ahead.
Should we take a question from her?
Should we finish in a couple
Yeah,
of minutes?
remember your question in 1 minute, we'll jump into it, okay?
Okay.
Yeah, the last part.
Yeah. So how do we do that? And each have, all of us, and have our own path. Then the path that you can take is depending on your belief system, depending on your the facility that is available. Those could be, you can do a Bhakti Yoga, Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, or Raja Yoga, which is self-realization. Depending on your own ability, that you choose that path. And we can elaborate on that when we have time, but let us take the questions.
Please go ahead and ask your question. Unmute
Induji,
yourself.
please go ahead. Yeah, Induji, please go ahead.
Unmute.
Yes, can you talk, Induji?
Okay. Can you?
We can hear you. We can hear you.
Oh, you can hear me? Okay.
Yes.
I was just, this question was for Erica. I was thinking, once you put some sweet candy in your mouth and you keep on putting in your mouth for longer time, isn't it bad for teeth or what? Just a
okay. Maybe Induji, if you can hold on to that question, we'll have Erica answer that to you towards the end.
Mm-hmm.
Does anybody have question for Dr. Bhatt and Mrs. Bhatt? Dr. Bhatt, anything else that you want to add?
No, we have to have time for Padma and everybody.
Time for Padmaji. So, I mean, in this same line, if anybody has questions, and then we will be able to answer. And it's just a glimpse of what we wanted to do. At the same time, there's a lot more we can explain.
Okay, so message us privately. I'm asking the attendees to message us privately, and then we can take the questions towards the end.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Kusum.
Dr. Padma.
Dr. Padma.
Is it Dr. Padma first?
We already finished.
Oh, sorry. I get confused between Dr. Naras Bhatt and Dr. Kusum Bhatt. Okay. So over to Dr. Padma. Dr. Padma, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, cool. So go ahead.
So how do we manage in this time of stress? First of all, I think what Drs. Naras and Kusum Bhatt said was wonderful. Forgiveness and self-compassion and gratitude, those are key things. Physically, how do we cope? I like to walk in the sunshine. Like today, we didn't have much sunshine, but every day there is. And I like to step out and walk and in the sunshine, and look at something green. It is so calming. So we should do that. The other thing is to exercise however much we can, maybe 10 minutes 3 times a day, 15 minutes 3 times a day, however much, because exercise boosts our immunity. It also uplifts our mood. So exercise is so wonderful. You can also, call somebody else who may be needing company. Call and talk to them, because when you talk to somebody, or when I talk to somebody, it always makes my mood better. There are so many people I haven't called in ages because time just flies, but then now I have time. I can call and chat for a while, and that is really nice. You strengthen relationships. And then, eating. So we are kind of ordering online, and food, from the stores come, so we make food fresh every day now, before it used to. So eating fresh, and then we make healthy food. We don't have to eat, when we eat fruits and vegetables, they really have a lot of anti-inflammatory and immune boosting, and we all need immunity now. So eat healthily, and that's really important. And then one of the things, sometimes when I so I have to relate from personal experience and also from studies. When we feel that it is kind of overwhelming and things are rough, we just have to think of others. When we think of others, we are surrounded by so much of comfort here. We have every kind of comfort that we want. There are people, millions of people that don't have that, may not be here, but maybe in India. Think about them. And they are happy. They're not sad because they have a lot of people around and they're happy. So I just feel I have nothing. I have to thank God every day. So I think gratitude comes there, and always I go by the proverb, but for the grace of God, there goes I. I always thank God for what I have, what I am. Thank God. And then when you thank God, there is always some sunshine that comes up. So these are coping mechanisms. Talk to others. And when you're nice, kind to others, when you talk to somebody and break their loneliness, actually your immunity goes up. They give flu shots to people who's after they've been kind to others, and the flu shot, it gets better immune. They produce more antibodies. So that has been shown. So when you're actually kind to somebody else, you're actually kind to yourself. So even just talking, sending a nice email, if you don't have time to talk, just send an email saying, I'm thinking about you. Shall we have a chat? How are you? Haven't talked to you for a long time. So those are things we can do. But I would daily walk in the sun. Walk in the sun, and deep breathing and meditation. Meditation and deep breathing are so wonderful. You come out of it feeling happy. And that has been shown to boost immunity too. So as seniors, we all have to think about how we can boost immunity. And these are proven strategies: exercise, looking at calm things like greenery, deep breathing, meditation, fruits and vegetables, acts of kindness. All of this, we can do all of that, and feeling grateful. All of this increases our immunity. That's what I would do. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Wonderful. This is really good, Dr. Padma. Thank you. Good words of wisdom, good words of what we should do and not do. This is really helpful. We had a question by Indu Chabra. Erica, are you on the call to take that question? Can you hear us?
She's muted.
Erica, can you hear us?
She can't. She's muted.
I'm trying to unmute her, but somehow it's not getting unmuted.
Maybe from her side.
Yeah. There's also a question from Raju Thakkar. Okay, she is also not let me try to unmute her.
She was no.
Okay, can you hear me, Raju Thakkarji?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, what was your question?
Talking in connection to Dr. Padma. She just talked right now, right?
Yes, go ahead with your question.
So I'm just telling my experience as well. It goes related that we need to thank God. So there is only one line prayer. Oh God, nothing will happen today that you and I together cannot handle. And the other thing that you say that we need to go outside in sun and look in the clean up. So we have a backyard, luckily. So we go in the backyard and we have a lot of soil and pots and seeds and everything. So we keep on planting, and every day go outside and look for even smallest leaves and smallest fruit that are going to come. So that is what making us very happy, because my grandson has a lot of hobby of that. My son is also into that. So that's really helped.
That's wonderful. Yes. Anybody else? How are you trying to kind of cope with it, or how are you taking advantage of this situation?
Well, this is Dinesh Chandra, and I would like to thank all the panelists for sharing wonderful ideas, even though we have heard some of those ideas before. But it's always good to hear them again, and more explanations and more understanding of those, and they're going deeper and deeper. One thing I'd like to say is that we got to keep our sense of humor. And we always should try to laugh as a family together, as friends together, I think laughing is also, almost everything else is covered here. Only thing remaining was laughing. So I think, and Dr. Madan Kataria is a laughter yoga guy is wonderful. Just laugh for no reason. If you can crack good jokes, if you can have a lot of humor, that's wonderful. But if there's nothing, then just come together and laugh. And it doesn't take anything. Once one person starts laughing, all of us begin to laugh. So we have a program every Saturday, 9 o'clock Pacific time, where we try to practice these things. I have found that we know a lot of things, and knowledge is power, but learning to do them is superpower. So I think whatever you want to do, I would just say go ahead and do it. And today I was successful. One of my family member, I've been trying to get them to exercise, Padma, and they would always come out with an excuse. So I negotiated 5 minutes. I said, just 5 minutes walk. And after walking, she actually thanked me. And she said, okay, starting tomorrow, I'm going like 30 minutes. I said, great. So just take a baby step. Take the first step, just do it. Do it for 1 minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes. I don't care, but just get started. That is my message. And look forward to seeing you guys on Saturday, 9 a.m.
Very nice. Thank you. That was a really good closing. Laughter definitely is contagious. Let's spread this disease rather than what's going on in the environment. Yes, Pushpaji,
I just want to add whatever everybody says is so true. But the thing is, think the positive, not dwell what's going on. Don't count the days that, oh, how many days? Because I have some friends, they're going down, so I talk to them all the time. Don't count the days. Think positive and accept it, because whatever.
I think your video got stuck. We can't hear you. Pushpaji, can you hear us? Pushpaji? Okay, I think her audio and video got stuck. Is she back?
You can.
Okay. All right. So I think, Pushpaji, we couldn't hear you. Your bandwidth probably got frozen. So I just want to thank you all for joining. This was a good participation.
So I just wanted to add one little comment, like everybody said, like my little grandson said, yesterday is a history, tomorrow is a mystery, and today is a present, which is also a gift. So enjoy today, and then be happy.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank
so
you.
Are you ready to laugh for a minute or two?
This is great. This is great.
Keep laughing.
Yes. So we do this. We will be doing this every week. So try to get more people on the call. Let everybody know that we have this 60 minutes with all of you every week. And there are some wonderful topics. Laughter yoga or laughter session will also be there. We have planned it. So please bring more and more. Let us know how you benefited out of this. Thank you again for your time. Thank you so much. And see you all again.
Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.